always had Chevys. My dad's side of the family has always had Fords. We tease back and forth between the difference between Ford and Chevys, you know. There was once when he had built the Corvair tow truck, he sent me a picture of it. So lo and behold, I was on Facebook and just page down, and here was a 1926 Ford Model T tow truck. Had the label on it, so I made a copy of it, and just as before I sent it to him, I sent the label. Oh yeah, I think you said something about you could pull my Model A with your tow truck. Yep. So I sent this, Model T, picture Model T tow truck, and I said, towing Chevy since 1926. So anyway, that's the kind of fun we have with each other.
But I don't have a Ford tow truck, so.
Yeah.
It's okay.
So yeah, this is my 1929 Ford Model A Town Sedan. Now, I get a lot of questions. Well, I thought these were supposed to be all black. Well, that was Model T days, you know. Model T, you know, that they started at what was 1909 or
1909.
and then about 1912 or 14 was when Ford started making them all black, because the paint would dry faster. And then what was it, just about 4 years before they quit making Model Ts, I guess it was like the board members were all complaining because they felt like they were losing out the competition, so then they started making them in colors. And so then the Model Ts, the engine was a 20 horsepower engine, but then with the Model A, it was his son Edsel that talked him into building a newer car with a bigger engine and bigger everything, you know. And so, and I think it was like 1924 was when Henry Ford bought out the Lincoln Motor Company, and it was a car company that was making luxury cars, but it was just about to go out of business. So, you know, Henry Ford was doing very well with Model T because they produced over 15 million of them within an 18-year period. And so he probably needed a tax write-off. And so he started studying the plans on that, on the Lincolns, and got the idea to produce the Model A, you know. So the engine here, I'll open it up here so you can see it. Now the engine, instead of 20 horsepower, it's 40 horsepower. Still a 4-cylinder, flathead. I've added the manifold heater, and I used it on the way up here. It's just enough to take the chill off, you know. Now if I go long distance, like half hour or so, yeah, it starts getting warm enough in that car. I need to start opening the window. But now, but then it was like, the Model A's were made from 1928 to 1931, and a little over 5 million of those were produced. And I was talking with my friend Don Barnes. He's sitting here with the cane. He's from Girard, and he was the one that I said it's all his fault why I got into this. I was filming a series for PBS. And I was down at the Ariston Cafe where they had just, the announcement had come out that they would go sell the Ariston. So Nick Adam was sitting at the counter talking about how Route 4 was the predecessor to Route 66, stuff like this, you know. And I thought, I need some footage to go along with this, because in broadcasting we call that talking heads. No matter how good the story is, it gets boring seeing someone just sitting and talk, you know. I need some footage, so I asked Don if he'd bring his Model A out on old Route 4, and I'd film it to go along with him talking about the old route, you know. And then I saw his car, and I just fell in love with his, you know. And he went, no, they got about 5 or 6 of them down at Country Classic Cars in Staunton, and so that's where this car came from. And but anyway, like I said, 1928 was the first year for the Model A's. 1929 was when Henry Ford came out with the luxury edition, which was the Town Sedan. That's what this is, and it's 1929. When we was restoring some of the pieces to it, we noticed that thing different about the town sedans, and it's on the carburetor. All other Model A's had Zenith carburetor, but on the town sedan, it's a Tillotson carburetor. Well, what's the Tillotson do? Better gas mileage. I've heard a lot of other Model A owners say, oh, I can get anywhere from 13, 15, maybe 16 miles per gallon. You know, where I didn't see this until about a month ago from the Sooners Model A Club in Oklahoma, and they was talking about how the Tillotson would average anywhere from 17 to 27 miles per gallon. I know this car can do that because I've done it. You know, and I just thought that my cousin was just a fantastic mechanic and maybe souped it up a little bit. I didn't know. And but no, it wasn't the case because I've been getting anywhere from 18, 22, sometimes 28, almost 30 miles per gallon with it. And I just thought, oh, I had to been miscalculating, but I guess not. So anyway. So this is 40 horsepower. It's twice the horsepower as the Model Ts. The interior, if you want to look inside, you can. And so the cloth seats is standard. This, I think what it's called, it's mohair. One thing that when I started belonging to the Model A Club, I have been putting air freshener, things like that, to keep mice out, and they said, you don't need to do that. They said, Henry Ford was way ahead of the time. They said he put mohair in this because mice don't like the smell of it, and they don't like the taste of it. So leave the air freshener out. I guarantee you won't find a mouse in there. I've had this car 5 years, and I've never had a mouse in it yet. So I'm happy about that because I don't like them anyway. One of the first with this car, this is the first year for the front seat where you can move it forward and backward. I don't know about the 28s. Did they have that?
No, the coupe you mean?
Yeah.
The only way you can get your seat any further back in the coupe is there's a little shelf package, you know, behind the windshield, and you can saw that in two to put the back seat a little further back. That's the only way.
Yeah. This car, on the dashboard, it has your fuel gauge, and which is mechanical. And I guess up until then, you had to just put a yardstick inside under the cap to see how deep the fuel was. This one has
That's
it.
a tractor gas gauge, by the way.
Yeah. It then had, of course, your speedometer, odometer, but it also has a trip odometer. Now, trip odometer, from what I understood, only your top of the line cars like your Cadillacs, Buicks, Packards, LaSalle, those were available as option. Henry Ford decided, well, he's just make this one standard. So that's what this car has. I think in the 30 and 31s, they did away with the trip. Because from what some of the components I see now, but they don't have that. But anyway, that's what this car has. If you ever get inside one, the back seat has way more room than the front. The back seat's like sitting in an overstuffed couch. You have lots of headroom, lots of leg room. Well, town sedans, they were meant for traveling, for enjoyment. It was luxury, you know. So longest wheelbase, and I don't remember offhand what the wheelbase is, but it is the longest. So trying to think, what is it I haven't covered yet? I was going to do a PowerPoint and use a tablet, and I thought I'll get messed up with that. I just look at it and I ought to remember it. So, but yeah, this car's been every place. I've driven it Route 66 up to Bloomington and back. I've been down to the Chain of Rocks Bridge with this. I've been to Pittsfield with it. Then later on, when I was doing Route 66 series for PBS St. Louis, we hauled it to Missouri, and it's been driven from Cuba, Missouri, all the way to Carthage, Missouri. Again, I was getting anywhere from 18 to 27 miles per gallon with it, so can't beat that. The windshield goes forward. That's sort of like your air conditioner, if you will, for the time. And Henry Ford had something kind of unique about that. He had a set of baffles underneath the windshield, where if you're in a rainstorm, it was pouring down, you didn't want to roll down the windows and get the interior wet, well, you could crack the window partway open, air would come up over and then into your feet, and it would feel just like a floor vent, which I thought was kind of ingenious on his part. Only has one tail light, but that was standard back then. I get a kick out whenever I go someplace. Hey, mister, your right tail light's burned out. This car's never had a right tail light. I think I've been told there were some municipalities back at the time that did require them. I don't remember what cities they were, but there were a few that required it, So, but I get that every now and then, and oh, I didn't know mine had one, or it must have fell off somewhere, Yeah. But this one doesn't not have cow lights. There's some of them that did. This one, it does have high beam and low beam. There's the switch is in the steering column where the horn is. As far as, let me show you here. There's low beam and high beam. Now the reason those are so bright, they have now come out with LED bulbs for these cars. They didn't used to be that bright. The incandescent bulbs were not this bright. But even then, what was standard for back in 28 and 29, they were so darn dim because there was a lot of laws back then that because there were still some horses, and they didn't want to scare the horses, keep the lights down to a certain candle power, Parking lights, there's your parking lights. Just let someone know that you're sitting there. I won't hit the horn, it might blow you out of here.
I want to hear it.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
If I was running the car, it would sound better than that. The fuel tank is right here. In the cow, with the fuel tank, the difference between the T's and the A's is the T's, it was under the seat, you sat on top of the gas tank. Nothing was, nobody thought about safety issues back then. It was kind of a lot simpler, a lot slower back then. But, and that was also the time they would say that if you was going up a steep hill, you'd have to go up in reverse or otherwise the engine would cut out because the gas couldn't get to the engine. So Henry Ford put it up here. Everything's gravity flow. And from what I learned from the National Club, the Model A Ford Club of America, if you're ever in a wreck with one of these, 95% of the time, these gas tanks will not blow up. Simply because it's gravity flow, it's not pressurized like today's cars. So that's another big difference. What am I forgetting? This is brown. This top here, they either made them in leather or vinyl. I won't tell you which this is. Well, it's really vinyl, but it looks like leather anyway. I have, as far as the interior goes, with those mohair seats, I've had friends of mine say, "Oh, we're not going to do that. We're going to put in all vinyl seats." And then they complain about all the mice. That's what you get, But like I say, Henry Ford was kind of eccentric for some of the things he did. Corvair tires finally came out with a set of radials for these cars, for the A's as well as the T's. And that's what these are. And, they're expensive enough, but, they last pretty good too. So it's really made a difference that it rides a lot better, the handling is a lot better. Now, they didn't have white walls back when the A's were out. I think, let's see, 31 was the last year for the Model A, and I think, what was it, 32 or 34 is when they came out with white walls.
31, they
31, okay.
out of the factory. Now you could get them from the dealer if you wanted them from the dealer.
Yeah. So, can you think of anything I've forgotten?
Well, I might have mentioned too that since the gas tank is above there, as you see your carburetor doesn't have any, there's no fuel pump. It's just direct fed right into the carburetor. Another thing is, on the radiator, you will see a fan, but it doesn't really have any water pump. It works on the principle that, you know, when you pour cold water into hot water, the hot water into cold water, the hot water raises. And so it circulates that way.
This little hood ornament has a thermometer. That's so then you can see from inside when it's getting too hot. And I have seen it get hot sometimes.